Okay, so we'll do a quick review. It looks like we've got a pretty good set of notes here. I won't read them to you, but we'll just kind of talk about the important stuff. Yeah, Git is the probably the most popular version controlled system, and a good description, right? It lets us track and manage changes over time. So we talked about a lot of these benefits last week. We can work with teams, we've got backups, it's platform independent, helps us manage our projects, and guys posted a nice good image here, right? That we can work together and through our version control system make sure our changes are in sync. And you've also cited the image. That's great. Okay, so group 2, yeah, so Git init, that's right. It's the first command we run when we're starting a new Git project. This creates a new repository. I'll just modify this. It doesn't, oh yeah, sorry, it does create the local Git directory in our folder. That's right. So it creates the .git folder, which is hidden in our operating system unless we turn it on, and it contains all of the tracking. Okay, thanks Sarah, Mina, and Ramandeep. So git add, oh, we've even got a little animated GIF. Nice work, Elena and Karen. So add, it tracks any files. Okay, so the dot is like a wildcard, so it will add any file name of any extension. Okay, so it selects the file, moves it to our staging area, so it gets included the next time we make a commit. It gets added to that new snapshot. So I like this progression. We've got add, and then we've got commit. And git commit, we'll get to next. And this is kind of the heart of it. Yeah, it's creating a save point. And it means it's ready for us to upload. And there are some additional options we can include. And we always want to include the message, because the message is us describing what work did we do. And you cannot commit without a commit message. So this flag is going to be required. Okay, thanks. Group 4. So group 5 said that pushing is about making changes to the remote server. Often it's the master branch. We'll look a little bit more about branches. So we're basically copying, we're doing an upload from our development machine up to GitHub. Okay. Now we didn't talk about Git Pull, but thank you to group 6. So Git Pull is the opposite. If pushing is uploading, pulling is downloading. Kind of works similar with Git Fetch. So when would you use, I just want to talk about this in a little more detail. Let's say that Owen and I are working on a project together. When would we want to use Git Pull? So maybe Owen, Eric, Viraj, I'll ask this question to you guys. Could you explain a little more how pulling? Oh, I'm sorry. I'll go back to that slide that I missed. Thank you. And that's fine, Sarah. So when would you use Git Pull if you were working in a team environment? If you look at how this works from the graphic that group 6 put on. Okay, yeah, Shawshank, it is for collaboration. Yeah, so when exactly? So let's say that Owen and I are working together, and Owen works in the morning and I work at night. So Owen does his work in the morning. Okay, yeah, Belinda, yeah, you're right, getting warmer. So let's say Owen works in the morning, he works 4 hours on the project. At the end of the day, he says, okay, I'm done for the day. I'm going to push and upload my changes. Right, that's right, Daniel. So now I sit down to work in the evening. The first thing I want to do is run a git pull command. So so Owen pushes to GitHub when he's done. Before I start working, I want to do a pull from GitHub to my local machine. So that way I have the new work. So when you're collaborating, you always do a git pull before you start working to download any changes that your team members have made. Okay, I skipped slide. Yes, thank you, Shawshank. So git remote add, right? It creates an Online backup. Yep, we link it after we're cloning. We could use any one of the remotes, but most of the time in our class we'll use GitHub. So we've got to supply a name, which is generally origin, and the URL. Okay, it's a good graphic how that works. Guys, make sure you add the URL where this image came from. Unless you created it, make sure you cite it. So go back and add that to your slide, please. Okay, so we talked about push and pull. So you won't probably be doing pull in this class very much because you'll probably be working on your own. But later on in some of your other classes, like if you're in web, in our Project Studio class next year, if you're in programmer in your systems project, you'll be working as a team and you'll need to use both push and pull. And Git branching. It's going to go right to this image so we can blow it up a bit better. Actually, whoops, I want the other image. So how do branches work? We probably won't use different branches in our class. But again, when you're working on larger projects, when you're working as a team, branching is common. So in this example, for example, the green, this is the master branch. So this is the version that's actually in production on the server. So let's say it's a live website. So that would be the green version. But now our customer has asked us to add some new features. One called feature one, one called feature two. So when we make a branch, it allows us to make a copy of the code and then make changes without affecting the existing production or master branch, because we might break things, it might take a while. So we can work on pieces of the project in isolation. We can work on a copy of it without affecting the main version. So as the team said, yeah, we can add new features or fix bugs without affecting the main version of the project. And typically the primary version is called the main or the master branch. So yeah, we can make a copy with the git branch command. And there's a few different styles of using branching. So this is one that we create different branches to work on different features or different areas of the website. That's one way of using branches. Here's another way of using branches. Yes, so for example here, this was a student project. There were 5 students. So they had a development branch. So they had different branches for different features. Some teams will give each developer their own branch. So Hamid, if you and me and Daniel are working together, I might create a Rich branch, you create a Hamid branch, Daniel creates a Daniel branch. We all take a copy of the starting project, and then we can all work on our own stuff. And then we can merge changes later. One of the other common ways of doing it is this. We have a master branch. So this is in production. This is the live version of the site. We have a staging branch. So this is for testing. And then we might have a development branch. So we push to the development branch as we're working. When we're ready to test our changes and show them to our client, we put them on a staging or testing server. And once our client approves, then we can merge them into the master branch. So you can merge changes from one branch to another. So not only do we have the individual versioning with the commits, but we have the branching that lets us work on things, fixes or new features by working on a copy. And that way we don't have to worry, like we don't have to create new folders and copy and paste in our directory. The branching handles all of that. So especially in large projects with big teams, this feature is kind of essential, that each team can have its own feature set, each own branch to work on. So we won't use branching really in this class, but you probably will later on when you're working on group projects. And certainly when you're out working in industry, particularly in a big organization, they'll use branching with their source control. Okay, you guys did really well on this. I think this is a really good reference. Please make sure your names are on your slide as well as your image and that you've sourced. Yeah, make sure you add the link to the image source. I'm seeing them on all the slides except this one. So we'll want to make sure that you update. Oh, sorry, you do have it here. I missed it. My apologies. All right, excellent. Pretty easy lab. Okay, so I will leave this slide deck available, and you can reference it during the semester. I mean, obviously, I've put materials on Blackboard already, um, but the link will be here, and I will just go ahead. You don't have to submit anything for Lab 2 because you have your names on the slide deck. I will just give you the marks, and it looks like the slides are complete. So everybody who's participated in the activity, you'll get full marks for your lab. So there's 2.5%. Your final mark, pretty easy. Okay, no. That's actually a good question, Elena. Does Git create branches automatically? It only creates one. So when you create a new repository, it does give you one branch automatically. So if I just go ahead and make, well, actually, so by default, you get one branch by default that's called master. So when you create a new repository, it will do this. The command to create a new branch is just simply git space branch, and then you give it a name. So in my terminal, so I'll just type this in the chat. If I wanted to create, a new staging branch, I would just do git branch staging. And what this would do is copy all the existing code from the default branch, the current version, it would copy it to staging. So when you create a branch, not only does the branch get created, but your default, which is typically your master branch, it's copied, all the code. So then I could work on staging. Parvamir, there's no limit. So you can create as many branches as you need to. So for example, in this student project, so what they did, you can see all the branches here. They had, here, all branches, so we can see. Okay, so they had lots of, so each feature they would create a branch. Okay, so Tyler, there's two ways of doing it. There is a Git Merge command. So I'll show you what that looks like. There's two ways of doing it. So we'll just kind of have a look, right? So here's our master branch with our C's representing the commits. So we make a new branch with this name, ISS53, which copies the master branch. So then we work on this, and then we decide, okay, it's ready. Like maybe we're fixing a bug. So now how do we merge this change back into the master branch? Or here they've made, a hot fix branch, right? We identify a bug. So we check out the master branch, and then we call git merge. So this will merge our change from hotfix in. That's one way of doing it. There's also a method called a pull request. And actually, I think I could show you an example of a pull request. So with the pull request, so I would manage this by making pull requests. A checkout simply means you are switching to that branch. So I'm on the master, but I want to go to staging. So you can make a pull request. So this might mean some projects not everybody has access to merge the code. There might be only one person with the ability to merge. So you can compare. So I'm going to compare the staging branch to the master. And GitHub will show me if there are changes. And if there are, I can create a request to pull and merge. So I would do that. I used to do this. So here I would merge. So here there was a bug fix, right? So they fixed a couple of broken links, and then they merged this commit from the staging to the master branch. And it actually shows what files were changed. Okay, so there were a couple of links missing. Yeah, you create it and then you check it out. So you create the branch, and then checking it out means you are changing into that branch. So then you're working in that branch, and then later on when you're done, you can merge your changes, and you can even close the branch if you no longer need it. So the pull request and merge lets us work on those changes in a branch, and then when we're happy, we can merge them in. Exactly how this works. Well, eventually what you do, yeah, your branches tend to intersect through the master. So Elena, let's say you and I are working together. You might have an Elena branch and I have a Rich branch. And when you're done your work, you merge it into master, and I'm done my work, I merge mine into master. So master is the main copy, and we can each have our own branch that we're working on. That's right, Hamid. So when we are working in a branch, our commits are inside that branch. So again, if I have a rich branch and it's going to take me a week to fix something, I will make commits inside my own branch every day. And I will merge when I'm all done. Paramveer, it depends how you set up the permissions. By default, anybody can work on any branch, but you can set permissions if you want, so only certain people have access to certain branches. So if we're on a big team, we can control under the security, I think. Yeah, we can set up, probably go to one of my own repositories. So we can set up who has access. See under branches. So we could add a branch protection. So I could say only a certain person is accessible, for example. Yep, branches and commits are unlimited. That's right. So we have, this is very scalable, right? You're asking great questions. We have a lot of control. So here, how many commits do we have? Well, 700 commits in this project. What if we commit a wrong commit for a specific branch? Yeah, there is a rollback feature. It is possible. You can undo things or you can move your commit. It can be a little complicated, so you have to be careful with it, but it's technically possible, yes. So you can see when you're working with other people how all of these features are really useful in making sure we can collaborate effectively and we can work on things while not affecting our existing running application. So our branching is really designed to allow us to divide work and also keep our application running while we work on updates and fixes at the same time. Okay, it is 10 to 9. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a break here. We will come back at 10 minutes at 9:01, and we're going to look at making our PHP Flicks site, make it a little more of like an actual website. We're going to style it up. We're going to look at how do we use the Bootstrap, how do we leverage Bootstrap in order to make something that looks a little better, a little more polished and professional. Okay, let's take 10 minutes here. Actually, 9:02.